Hi everybody, welcome or welcome back to the channel. My name's Nicole and this is Dusty Book Sniffers, and today we are here for Battle of the Girl Band's reading vlog. It is week 1 and I have been on a roll, so let's get started. Well, good morning or good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for taking some time out of your day and spending it with me while I prattle on about all the books that I have read in the first week of February for Battle of the Girl Bands. Battle of the Girl Bands, you ask? What is this about? All right, so I was asked by Rainey and Neva if I would like to help out with Battle of the Girl Bands. Now, Neva is at the team captain, so to speak, of TLC, and Leandra and I are co-hosts with her. This is the brainchild of Rainy Blue Reads, and I will link up anybody that I've mentioned today down below, and you can go and check them out. They're all fabulous channels, and you should be subscribed to them. If you're not, I don't know what you're waiting for. They've got some great content. They've got Patreons and all sorts of stuff happening. So make sure you go and subscribe to them. Anyway, back to what this vlog is about. This is a reading vlog and it is my first week. I decided after January, after the schmozzle that was my clips and all the rest of it, which I've just decided that that vlog is just not going to go out. It is going to be way too long. There are way too many books. So I'm just going to pull all the books that I read off the shelf and do a reel for it. And that will be my January TBR bingo thing. Because I've just waffled on and all the rest of it. It's sort of like what I'm doing right now. So let's get into it, shall we? A little bit better. So this week I have had a fabulous reading week already. So I have my original TBR, which I'll link up down below. You can go and see what the original one has been. I have done a little bit of tweaking to it because I decided that I was also going to use my NetGalley shelf as a way to, get rid of them off my shelf and get up to date and all the rest of it. So I ended up taking 2 for BIPOC off Team TLC and for anticipated read. I ended up doing 2 NetGalley arcs for that, which is fabulous. It's 2 books that are now off my NetGalley. And then the books that I had set down for that, I have put them onto the other teams where I can steal points from. So the basis for me to be able to steal is I must read 4 books, I must read 4 different prompts, and then I can start stealing from other teams, which means that I will get double the points. So what the object of the game is for us to get as many points as a team as possible so we can win the Grammy at the end of the readathon. And I do Grammy because it's not real. So we will just get bragging rights that we won a Battle of the Girl Bands. All right, so that is basically how it's all going to go, and I'm going to be cutting to different clips throughout the week of different things. You'll see me in a very dusty shirt because I was sanding some stuff when I had finished those books, and I just sort of come out and talked about them and whatnot. So yeah, I've really got to learn to change my shirt after I've been crafting and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so I have had a great week and I'm hoping that the next week will be just the same. So let's get into this reading vlog and you can find out all the things that I have been reading. Okay, so it is day 1 of Battle of the Girl Bands. It is the 1st of February in my neck of the woods, so I am starting off with my first prompt. And my first prompt was to read a book with a doctor in it. So I am reading the book No Consent. It is about a serial rapist, has some pretty heavy content in it, and we're reading about Anya is the main character, and she is a forensic doctor, so basically a forensic pathologist type person. So she's generally on the case for serial killers and all that sort of stuff. So this was a series recommended to me by a friend of mine, Chrissy, and you've probably seen her in sprints and stuff like that. She's also over on Instagram where she posts things about her stitching and whatever she's reading, as well as Chrissy stitches and reads. And so yeah, you can find her. I'll link her up down underneath this video so you can go and check her out and see what she's all about. So yeah, so I am looking forward to it. This is book 2 in the series. So I read book 1 back in August. I'm tackling book 2, and I'm just going to slowly work through them throughout the year, so you'll get to hear more about them. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail about what the book is about. We're going to do that as we go along, and I'll try not to give spoilers as well. And it's pretty hard when you're reading a series to not give spoilers. But it is the first day of the readathon. It's first thing in the morning. I've just got up. I haven't even had a coffee yet. I've put the earphones in and I'm ready to go. This one I will probably check in around about midway. I think I'll wait until I get to that point. I've listened to probably about 10 minutes of it so far. The narrator is the same narrator from the first book, because I've had these on audio for the most part. I do have the physical book 4 and book 1, but the rest are all on my library app. So a good score that it's not cost me anything because it's on the library app. So that is a little bit of a thing that I'm trying to do this year as well. Be more proactive of using my library services and whatnot. So yeah, so I'm going to get back into it. The narrator is great. I liked her in the first one, so I know that I'm going to like her in this one as well. But I'm looking forward to getting on with that. I'm also have other books that I've got to read today, so I sort of want to get this one knocked over pretty quick. And I also am filming my massive secondhand book haul from the book fest. Just keep an eye out for that video. That's coming soon, or you've probably already seen it before this video's gone up. But anyway, I am going to go off and do all the things that I need to do for the day, and I will check in at about the halfway mark. Well, good morning everybody. It's the 2nd of let me turn that light on. It is the 2nd of February, and I have already finished my first book for Battle of the Girl Bands. So basically, excuse the mess behind me, I haven't even cleaned up this morning. It's super early. I'm getting ready for sprints and all that sort of stuff. So I've just had a shower and everything. But I'm here to talk about Without Consent. So there's not really much to say about it. It's a 3-star, 3.5-star rating from me. It was good. Like, I really like the forensic science behind it and all that sort of stuff. So I am intrigued by that. It's not a series that I would dive headlong into and just, you know, keep reading it and all the rest of it until it was finished. But yeah, so basically I just figured that I would just slot these in where I could slot them in. So basically, we're following the story of Anya. She is a forensic pathologist. She is someone that if you were raped or seriously assaulted or anything like that, she is the one that you are she sees to you. So basically, she will come and take swabs and all that sort of stuff. So basically, there's an underlying plot in this one where the pathologists and the forensic science are saying that, you know, we don't have enough funding, we don't have enough room to store DNA and all that sort of stuff. So there's an underlying situation with that, and a lot of that is actually true in this country. So the author actually corresponds with forensic pathologists and all that sort of stuff. And so it's very true, and basically, you know, she's telling us at the end in the acknowledgements that she acknowledges all the departments that have helped her and all that sort of stuff. So some of that stuff, she is like, all of that sort of stuff, she is drawn on fact and whatnot. But we have this fictitious story of a young man that's released from jail, and he was accused of raping and killing a girl, a 14-year-old girl, 20 years ago or something along those lines, right? I think it was 15 or 20 years. So he has been released. So you're sort of focusing on him with that, but there is a serial raper that, a rapist that is going around and is actually raping women. And that's where the underlying story of there's not enough room, we have to get consent. They're pushing for people to take photos of the victims and stuff like that. And the victims don't want that happening because they don't want it to leak, and all that sort of stuff. So there's these activists in the background trying to push for the victims and stuff like that, when in actual fact, the victims are usually victimized even more after the initial attack and all that sort of stuff. So there was that underlying plot there. You know, it was a very straightforward, you know, this person's doing this, we've got to chase them down, procedural stuff. But this one is more like, because we're following the Doctor, we're getting a more personal level. So we're starting to understand more about Anya and her personal life. She's, you know, divorced. She's got a young boy of 4 years old. He's just started daycare. Like, it's sort of like the daily grind in her job and how it doesn't pay enough and she has to make these decisions and all that sort of stuff. So nothing really to write home about, but still a really good story. I enjoyed it. I don't mind a little bit of crime fiction every now and again. It's not my favorite genre to read, but I do like to visit it every now and again because, you know, you get a break from all the other stuff that you normally read. But I'd just like to say thanks to Chrissy for putting me onto this series. I'm really liking the scientific stuff in it. It's not heavily done either, which is really good. So it's sort of, you know, enough for the layperson to understand, definitely, for sure. So yeah, like, I enjoyed it. It's finished. It's crossed off. That's prompt number 1 done. The next prompt, let's go for a walk and find out what the next prompt is, because I have no idea, because the color purple has turned into, oh, no lights on out here. That's going to be dark. The color purple has turned into a buddy read, and that was the second prompt. So that has turned into a buddy read with Neva and a few other people. So I'm not going to go straight into that book, but I am starting Harry Potter today as well. I'm starting my sprint kickoff. I'm doing a kickoff sprints for Harry Potter today, the Philosopher's Stone or the Sorcerer's Stone, no matter where you are. So I'm going to be starting that today and reading 100 pages of it. But the next prompt, I do have my prompts here. I will be reading, oh no, actually, the third prompt is the color purple was the one. So I will be actually diving into a little bit of romance. Okay, so this is editing Nicole's popping in. Yeah, I did not end up reading Secretly Yours. It was supposed to be a romance, and that did not happen because I moved on to some NetGalley stuff. These books I didn't talk about on my TBR, so these are extra books that I've added in. One is the most anticipated, which I completely forgot about it, and another one is by a BIPOC author. So yeah, I'm going to ramble a little bit more on about The Color Purple and the fact that I basically was supposed to be reading Secretly Yours. And of course, that has also been changed around, but you'll hear more about that as the month goes on. All right, let's get back to the vlog. As I said, the third prompt has turned into a buddy read, so I'll be reading that over the month. We decided to break that up into 4 parts and just do 65 pages, because my copy has 230 odd pages in it, so I divided that by 4 because there's 4 Wednesdays, and I'm going to read that on Wednesday sprint, so you will get to see me start that on Wednesday. But I'm going to read this one, and I've also got another book on the go at the moment that I've only got 154 pages to read on that. But once I'm finished the Harry Potter, I'm going to move on to this. So 2 books that I am starting today, which is February the 2nd, and I think I said January before. I'm stuck in January. I wonder why that is. All right, I need to go and finish getting ready for sprints. It's all day sprints today. It's going to be a little bit weird today because we're starting on my channel, then we're going into a long sprint on my channel, and then Neva and I will be heading on over to Rainie's channel for the kickoff for the Battle of the Girl Bands sprints, because it is the first over in the US. For me, it is the second. And yeah, so I'm really happy. I've already finished 1 book. I have a ton of books on my list. And also later today, I'm going to sit down and really nut out how I'm going to film my Jenga. So you'll get to see how I set it all up and all that. So I've got water in my ear from the shower. How I set all that up as we go along. All right, I'm going to head off and do some stuff, and I will check in when I am about halfway through this book. All right, have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you on sprints. Hi, everybody, and welcome back. All right, so there's a couple of books that I read over the weekend, and this is just going to be my check-in and wrap up because they were last minute thoughts on reading them. So I have swayed a little bit away from my actual TBR that I've done. I'm still reading those books that I talked about on my TBR, but I've added a couple extra in. Now, one of the books that I ended up finishing yesterday, which was the Harry Potter one, and I am logging that as which I'm going to talk about in a different video that is on my buddy reads, because that is a buddy read I'm doing, but I'm also logging it for prompt number 1, which is a book that has a doctor in it. So we all know about Harry Potter and all that sort of stuff, so I don't really need to talk to you about that. I read The Philosopher's Stone. It's a buddy read that I'm doing. So I'm logging the books as I'm finishing them through if they've got Madame Pomfrey in it. Now, she's the doctor that takes care of everybody in the infirmary and whatnot. So she's definitely in book 1, and I know she's definitely in book 2 as well. So basically, I thought, well, why not? I might as well log them for that. Okay, so I've logged that one, and that's done and dusted. I've finished the prompt 1 altogether now. The next one that I read, and I ended up using this for a BIPOC author, and now I cannot pronounce the by the author's name, and this was off my NetGalley. So what I've been doing is I've been going and getting books off my NetGalley that should have been already reviewed, that are, you know, already published and all that sort of stuff, and some of them are just about to be published as well. So like I was on the deadline crunch and all that sort of stuff, or I missed out by 1 or 2 days. So yeah, so I've been looking through those and seeing if anything can match that prompt. Now, the first one that I read, I was 20% already through this book. It wasn't a very long book. I think let me just see, it went for I think about 8 hours, and I read like 2 times speed. Yeah, 8 hours and 31 minutes. It's called The People of Ostrich Mountain. It is a historical fiction, and it is by Nidarangu. Anyway, there's the cover. That's the author. I'm not even going to try and say it. And it was narrated by Lee Ghioti. I think it is. Anyway, there you go. I'll put everything down the bottom there for you. Now, this was published back in 2021. It was Read It Now that I picked up last year. Hadn't even really looked at it. Started listening to it last year and just never finished it. It was a little bit slow. Okay, so it's a historical fiction. War breaks out at the foothills of Mount Kenya. It's following a 14-year-old girl who leaves her besieged village to go to school. She is quite talented with math and all that sort of stuff. Now, this sort of goes across the decades, and we're sort of following a story and her family story and all that sort of stuff. I didn't, and it's set in the 1950s as well, so that gives you some sort of idea what it's about. I enjoyed the story and the atmospheric parts of the book that the author was able to bring across on the page and all the rest of it. However, I did not read this on the page. I feel like, because I listened to this on audio, the narrator was just a little bit disjointed. I felt that the narrator would have been better suited to someone reading for middle grade or YA. This has topics that I wouldn't consider to be in YA. I can't find anywhere where it was like, what if it was YA or anything like that. It doesn't feel like that to me, so I'm going to say it's not. I've already put in my review and everything. I liked the atmosphere, that I was like, I could get really good imagery and all that sort of from the book, but I just think the audio actually just made it a little bit disjointed. So I actually have gone and got this on Kindle, because I think that I might go back and read it in the physical, not right now, but a little bit later, and just see if my because I only gave it 3 stars, so if I feel a little bit different about it. The audio wasn't great. So, and that's what I was reviewing on and whatnot. So I've put my review in. I only gave it 3 stars. The narration wasn't great or anything like that, but the story was a good story. I will say that. All right, the next one, and that I did that for, I can't remember what the number of the prompt is, but it was for a BIPOC author. The next one that I did was for a most anticipated read. Now, this was due to come out on the I think it was getting published on the 1st or the 31st of January. I missed it by a couple of days, but that's okay. I still got it read, and I got my thing up. Again, I listened to this one on audio as well. And I was really looking forward to reading this. I was not happy with the end result. So, again, this one, I've actually given this one 2 stars, 2.5 stars. I rated it 3 stars on Goodreads, because we can't do 2.5, but I definitely did 2.5 on Storygraph. So basically, we are at Clawheart Mountain. We've got a group of teenagers. They're heading to a cabin for the weekend, and they come across a a vehicle accident, and they go and check it out, and lo and behold, there is a ton of money in there. There's $15 million. Subsequently, these little teenagers decide that, you know, like, they're going to take some money. They end up taking a heap, and the story then just flows on from there. So basically, you know, we have a crash van, teenagers take some money, we have a bad guy that's coming to get the money, and then this is why I was anticipating this. Then we've got a horror element in it. So this was a horror book. And subsequently, it fell flat just about across all areas. The narration was not great in this as well. Like, we had 3 narrators from memory. And it just, like, when like, this is a slight spoiler, but yeah, the bad guy catches up with the teenagers eventually. Obviously, that's going to happen in the book if you've got that cat and mouse sort of thing happening, right? And so we've got this bad guy that's turned up, and the narrator that was reading for him made him sound like he was jovial and he was happy and he was, you know, this, like, he just, it was so disjointed. Like, if I've got a bad guy that's got a gun to someone's head, I would expect him to be gruff sounding, you know. He just wasn't. He sounded like he was happy to see these people, and he was not happy to see, like, this. It just wasn't matching up. So, and the teenagers were just flat out annoying. And I don't know whether that's because I'm in my teenage area with my kids right now and I just don't have a tolerance for them in books or not, but they were flat out annoying. I haven't gone to read other people's reviews yet either, so I have no idea what other people thought of this book. And I felt like that, as I said, the narration just did not match up. And the horror element of it, it was such a missed opportunity. The author just did not explore and explain this beast as much as there could have been. Like, there could have been so much more. Like, the cover looks amazing and all the rest of it, and that drew me in, but also the description drew me in as well, and it just fell short on across all. Like, I just felt like it was incomplete somehow. Like, the horror element wasn't horror really at all. It was a little, like, it was scary, and like, for some people that would be horrific, but I just feel like if you're someone that likes horror books, this is going to fall short for you as well. I just don't think it was explored enough. And I just don't think that the author put enough time and energy into that horror element. The other parts of it, take the narration away, the other part of the book, you know, finding the money, keeping the money, having the bad guy, and all that sort of stuff, that sort of rung true and was great. And I really enjoyed that element. But as soon as the horror element came in, it just felt like it wasn't meant to be there. I think that the author should have, like, because it's classed as a horror thriller, I think that the author should have just stayed as a thriller. So as I said, I think it just should have just stayed as a horror, like a horror or a thriller. And I sort of commend the author trying to have a go. I don't know whether they wrote in, like, I've never heard of this author before, so I don't know what else they've written and stuff like that, but I just felt it missed short. But then that could be a me thing too, because I expect a lot more from my horrors, and I just like a little bit more graphic, and I like a little bit more exploration and all that, especially if you're bringing in something like a wraith or a supernatural element or something like that. I like a little bit more explanation in it and all the rest of it. So unfortunately for me, it was a most anticipated read because I like reading horrors, and that's where I've been getting a lot of my horrors from, is from NetGalley and whatnot, and I've come across quite a number in the past that have been really good. Mark Wheaton's a really good writer as well. He gets the creepy vibe really well. This didn't have a creepy vibe to it. It was just sort of, oh yeah, you know, we've thrown in this supernatural element, a wraith, and it's, you know, it's scary looking and all the rest of it, but I wasn't scared by it. Like, I could have read this at 2 o'clock in the morning and went to sleep and not had an issue at all. So for me, it was just a missed opportunity, really. So that's sort of where I feel like, that's what I feel about that book. So unfortunately, I've given it 2.5. It fell short for my most anticipated read, but it is off, and it's got me up a little bit further on my NetGalley. I'm now currently sitting at 50%, and I noticed this morning that I've actually been approved for a book. So that's nice. I haven't been approved. I think I've been approved for 2 books so far. Most of these have been Read Now or they just add them to the Read Now shelf because they're coming out soon and whatnot, and they haven't had enough people request them or whatever the case may be. But anyway, I am happy I've got 2 more books off, and yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else I can fit in during the month and see if I can't get up to being up to date. All right, I'm going to head off now and do the rest of the things that I got to do, and I'm going to do a little bit of reading of Turn of the Screw, but I will check in soon and I will see what else I can pull off the shelf. Have a great day, everybody. See you soon. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 6th of February. So I am starting a new prompt today. It is Turn of the Screw. I actually read a couple of pages yesterday, but I didn't do the check-in, so I thought I'd better come on and check in. So I am reading a classic. This is one that has been on my shelf for a little while that I wanted to read, so I thought I would use it for the letter T, Turn of the Screw, for Team TLC. That is the prompt that I'm going to go for. It is a short story, but it has 120 pages to the story, so I can definitely use it. It's about midway through the book. I'm not finishing the entire book. I'm just doing that story for the prompt because that is the name of the book, and it's also the name of the featured short story in here. So it is a gothic ghost story, I assume. I have never read Henry James before, so it's going to be interesting to see whether I gel with his writing or not. But if I am honest, I have to say that I do like the gothic ghost stories. Shirley Jackson, even like Frankenstein, Dracula, all that sort of stuff. Those real like atmospheric gothic sort of stories and whatnot. So that is what this is supposed to be. There are other ghost stories in here. So basically I'm going to read Turn of the Screw, then I will put this book down until October, and then, because that was when I was going to plan to read it, but it fit the prompt. So I thought, you know what, I'll read the featured short story in the book, and then I can read the rest at the end of the year in October, and then that is still a check for the out of the classics that I want to read this year as well. So as I said, it's got 120 pages. It is a ghost story. I do listen to my classics as well as read along with them, and Emma Thompson is actually reading this book, and I just love listening to her. She is just so easy to listen to when she narrates a book. She just draws you into the story. She just brings something to her narrations and whatnot, and I just love listening to her. So I'm really looking forward to this. Anyway, I am going to finish getting ready, and I'm going to jump on sprints with Julie and a couple of other people. I'll probably only jump on for an hour or so because I still have a lot to do today. I've got to film and all that sort of stuff. So just to support other fellow booktubers that are sprinting and whatnot, I'm going to jump on for a little bit and do a little bit of reading and whatnot, and then I've got a little bit of crafting to do. All right, I don't think I'll check in at the midway point with this one. I think I'll just wait until the end, and I'll tell you all about the story as well. Now, I do know that there is a TV show on Netflix called The Haunting of Bly Manor, I think it is called, and it is based on this book. So if you have seen that, then you know what this book is about. I have not seen that, and I have not read the synopsis about what this is about. All right, I'm going to head off and get ready for the day, and I will check in when I'm finished with Turn of the Screw. Hi everybody, and welcome back. Today is the 8th of February, and I've got my TBR-a-thon shirt on. I love this shirt, it's so comfortable. So yeah, anyway, it's nothing to do with the TBR-a-thon because that was January. We're in February now, and we're here for Battle of the Bands. And I couldn't get a TLC shirt. It was going to take too long to get to me, and all the rest of it. And it was going to cost me a bomb. So I decided that I wasn't going to get one in the end. So anyway, basically I'm here to talk about Turn of the Screw. This is a book that I have read. It's a short story. It's a gothic ghost story, as I said in the previous clip. And now I've never read anything by Henry James or anything like that. And there was also a TV series. I think it's called The Haunting of Bly Manor. I will have to look that up, but I'm planning on watching that over the weekend. But anyway, for the first week of the Battle of the Bands, I've actually done pretty good. So I'm going to wrap this one up, and then I'm going to quickly touch on the books that I read for stealing prompts and whatnot. So I think I really enjoy it. Like, I was reading along with this while listening to the audio, and that's what I do with most of my classics because the simple fact is there's some language choices that I might not completely understand, and I feel like when I'm immersive reading them, I just understand the language a little bit better. Where as opposed to just listening or just reading. So having the two together, I get a better understanding of what's coming across. So basically, we're following the story of a governess that has turned up at Bly Manor to look after a couple of kids. And I can't really talk about this book without giving too much away, but basically she is telling us what happened and how it all played out and how she felt that it was haunted and all those sort of things. So yeah, it's going to be a brief wrap up because it is only a short story. It only has 120 pages. Okay, so the book was originally published in 1898, and it was also, which is very interesting, like considering it's only like 121 pages. Turn of the Screw was published in 1898. It's a horror novella by Henry James, gothic horror, that gothic ghost story. It's not really, I guess for back then, it probably would have been classed very horrific for a lot of people, but these days it's just a ghost story, okay? Something that you tell around the, the campfire or whatever. It first appeared in serial format in the Collier's Weekly magazine from the January 27th to April 16th, 1898. In October 1898, it appeared in the Two Magics, a book published by Macmillan in New York City, and in by Henneman, I think is how you pronounce it, in London. So basically, it's following the story of a governess. It's her first job, and she is sent to Bly Manor to look after some odd children, so to speak, and their names are Miles and Flora, I want to say. So I think they are twins, maybe. Anyway, Miles has been expelled from school, and then basically there is just a story that ensues from that. And then there's some bump in the night things that happen, and some apparitions and all that sort of stuff. And the governess is actually telling us the story. And there's other characters that are in it, like the kitchen hand and all that sort of stuff. So she keeps seeing these figures, and the children are doing odd things, and she's trying to work out how these children seem really good, but they're doing some weird things and stuff like that. So basically she starts to like it almost feels like she's super paranoid, and the fact that she thinks that these creatures want the children, and so the level of paranoia grows through the story. And what was I up to? My neighbors are having a rip snorting argument. So if you can hear that, I'm so sorry. So as I was saying, as the story progresses, the governess is telling the story and she's bringing other people into it. They've calmed down somewhat, so you shouldn't hear any of it. But anyway, it's distracting. It's very distracting. So where was I? Anyway, the level of paranoia is growing throughout the book about these people, and I believe these people were workers that were the at Bly Manor at some stage, and they've passed away. And so the house, I think she's the head housemaid, or she's the kitchen hand, or the head kitchen hand, and she's telling the governess that this is what happened. They got sick, they passed away, and all the rest of it. One of them was the previous governess, and one was a farm hand or whatever they called themselves back then. Oh my God, those are just classics, right? Who needs fiction when you've got reality across the road, right? So basically, the governor starts to feel a little bit. I've just got some notes in front of me. The governor starts to feel like more and more paranoid. She's starting to feel more and more helpless. As I said, Miles has been a letter's been sent home, and he's been sent home from school for some odd behavior at school, but you don't really know what he did and all that sort of stuff. And the children just seem like they're very placid and very very weird like children, and this is also adding to her paranoia and all the rest of it throughout the book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I fell in love with the story even more because Emma Thompson was narrating it in my ear, and I just love how she brings a story to life. And as I said on Sprints, like I could just have her sitting on the end of my bed and reading me stories forevermore. That because she just brings so much to the table and whatnot. So if you're going to listen to this story, and it's a very quick story to listen to, I will highly recommend that you get the Audible version, which is free on Audible. that Emma Thompson narrates. Now, I've actually given this a 4-star, which is not surprising because I really do like the gothic ghost story. I don't know, there's just something about it. Those stories that were written in the late 1800s, even, you know, early 1800s, that there's just something about them, that just the way they tell the stories, and like even the writing in this is absolutely beautiful as well. But as I said, I think my favorite part of it was that Emma Thompson was narrating it to me, and I just absolutely loved it. So I've given it a 4-star. I highly recommend it to anybody that's looking for some short stories. Now, as I said, this is full of other short stories by Henry James as well. But I've only read The Turn of the Screw in this, which is the featured story because that's the name of the book. Because it's called Turn of the Screw, and other ghost stories. So yeah, so I think there's 8 all up. So I'm going to read these all in October, which will be a lot of fun as well. All right, so that is that one. All right, so we got to the point after I logged this book that I had read 4 prompts and 4 different books. So now I am able to steal. So this is where I've got my my trusty little sheet, and you can see I've written things all over it, and I have managed to log. Now, earlier on in this vlog, I said that I logged Harry Potter for the Doctor. No, that was not correct. I actually I had misinterpreted the way you could do it. I thought that you could double up. You can't double up. So that was my bad. I hadn't logged it at that point, but I said that that's what I read it for. Anyway, it turns out that I could read this for, let me just put, I've got a whole heap down here. So I ended up stealing a prompt from the Spice Girls, and it was to read a UK author. Easy, right? So I logged that one. And basically this is a buddy read. I'm not going to talk too much about it. It's the first book. We're setting up the Harry Potter universe. We meet Harry Potter. We meet all the characters that are going to be throughout the 7 books and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of differences in this book, and I talk more about that over in my buddy read vlog, because I actually have another vlog coming out at the end of the month that is all the buddy reads that I've done throughout the month, which there aren't too many, but I'm slowly getting through them, and I'm talking more about those books over there, because I've also started reading The Color Purple, which is a prompt for the a book set in Georgia for the TRC team, but I'm also using that as a buddy read. So you won't see that until the last vlog because we broke it up into 4. But anyway, that's beside the point. So I stole some points from the Spice Girls, UK author, which means that I get double the points. I think it is for this one. So let me just have a look. So I ended up getting 40 points for this. Okay, so that's good. So I'm utilizing all the books that I have. The other books that I have logged as a stolen one is A Cover That Screams at You, and that is Mocha and Murder. Again, this is a group read that I'm doing over on Dusty, so I haven't really talked about it here, but essentially we are following the character of Roxy. She's living in a small town. She has a cafe that sells some yummy stuff, which when I was reading this book, I had to go and make myself an apple turnover because it made me very hungry. It comes with recipes in the back. They're all available on KU as well, or Kindle Unlimited if you don't know what that stands for. Excuse me. And I logged this for A Cover That Screams at You. It screams at me for 2 reasons. It has a lovely looking iced coffee on the front, and it has a little schnauzer on the front as well. And one of my friends owns a little schnauzer, so every time I see it, it reminds me of Mr. Monty. And yeah, so I logged that and I stole some points off the Cheetah Girls. So that was for A Cover That Screams at You. Now let me see how many points I got for that. I got 60 points for that. All right, so that's that one. Another one, and so yeah, and I ended up giving that one 4 stars. I just love the small town vibe, the little bit of a love story going in there, the quirkiness of all the town characters and all the things. But I will talk more about that at the end of the month in my Buddy Reads vlog. Okay, so check that out. All right, so the next one is also a Buddy Read as well, and this one I stole this prompt from the Cheetah Girls. Sorry, Cheetah Girls, I stole it from you again. And this one was for a author that you have not read before. And again, I got 60 points for this. And it is called The Lines We Leave Behind. So this is a historical fiction. We're following Maud slash Amber. She goes by two names in the book. It is a dual timeline, but not too far apart at the beginning of the book, and then we jump into the 90s and wrap up the story. So basically, the premise of this book is she was picked up by a group of people, and she was groomed to be a spy for the English in Yugoslavia during the Second World War, and she was helping the resistance against the Germans in Yugoslavia. And subsequently, she went and done that, and then when she's come back, she's landed into a mental facility because she cannot remember anything that happened. And it's very disjointed, and she's not sure what's reality and what isn't. And so she's working with the psychiatrist there, and she's on the verge of being released after some incidences happen. But you don't sort of know really what happened and how she actually got there and why she was there for so long. And that's how the story unfolds. Her doing her with the doctor, like doing her therapy with the doctor, and then writing about the things that she remembers, and slowly but surely her memories are starting to come back to her. But she ends up being in the asylum up until in the 1990s, when the civil war breaks out in Sarajevo, and the bombing of that she sees on TV, and something snaps in her and everything comes to the forefront. Now, she could never really talk about anything because she had signed the Secrets Act. So the Secrets Act is something that is basically a gag order that handed down by the government to spies and stuff like that back in the day. So it was a gag order, so she could never talk about it. And there was stuff happening in the background that was like working against her. They didn't want her to remember stuff and all that sort of stuff. I ended up giving this book a 3-star rating. The reason I gave it a 3-star rating is because the big jump from the late 1940s to the 1990s was quite jarring. We didn't really get any closure on some of the other characters that were in the 40s with her and stuff like that, so we didn't get any closure. However, we did get some closure with some of the characters a little bit later on in the story, and the book wrapped up really well. It wasn't a phenomenal story, and just because I've given it a 3-star rating does not mean it's a bad book. It's a great book if you like that sort of thing, and I do like historical fiction. I've just read better surrounded that sort of topic and whatnot. It's still a fabulous book, and I do highly recommend it if you like that sort of thing. It is very hard to read. There are some essay things in there as well, and there's a bit of violence and whatnot, but it's more a book about the human condition, the things that we go through in to recover from trauma and all that sort of stuff. So it is a good book in that aspect, and I'm really glad that I picked it up. As I said, it is on Kindle Unlimited, and it actually comes with audio as well here in Australia. I know that my Canadian friends don't have that option, but it does come with that here in Australia, and I really enjoyed it. Like I did enjoy it, but still, it was just an average book. I felt that the author had a missed opportunity for a couple of spots where it could have been a little bit more well-rounded and all the rest of it, and that probably would have put me at a 4-star read, because at the end of the day, it's a solid 3-star, which is a solid story and a great story, and I do still recommend this book. All right, so as I said, I logged that for stealing points from Cheetah Girls. I got 60 points from there, and that was for an author I had not read before, and that I'd forgotten the name of the author, but you can see it on the cover anyway. All right, now this is a book that I cannot talk about, but I have actually used it. I've been reading it since the beginning of February. I'm actually doing this for a secret vlog, and I can't really talk about it in this one, but it's If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. As I said, I am actually, and you've probably heard me talk a little bit about it and whatnot on sprints and whatnot, but I'll be giving my actual thoughts and how I felt about the book as I was reading it in a reading vlog. So, yeah, it is, I logged this book to steal points from Destiny's Child. I'm robbing from everybody. So Destiny's Child, I did this one, read a book that intimidates you. Now, you probably, and I got 60 points for that. Now, you're probably wondering why this book intimidates me. It's not the actual book itself that intimidates me. It's the content that's inside it that intimidated me. So it's dark academia, and basically we're following a group of theatrical students, Shakespearean theatrical students, and there's a story that unfolds in it, and you'll hear all about this in this other vlog, but that's basically what we're following. And what intimidates me is the Shakespearean side of it, and that's what was intimidating to me, because I have never studied Shakespeare. I know like some of the things that are mentioned in here, like Hamlet, and also like Romeo and Juliet, and a couple other ones as well. But to know the nitty-gritties of them, no, I don't. And so this was quite intimidating for me. It took me a little while to pick it up. Like, I've known I've had to do this vlog for quite some time, and it took me a while to pick it up. So yeah, so basically, it's all good. I I have read it now, and I have actually stolen some points from Destiny's Child, and I got 60 points for that. And that's all I'm going to say on this. I'm not even going to give my star rating on this one, because, as I said, this is in another secret vlog that I'm doing, and you will see that very soon. It's coming to a screen near you soon. All right. So I've had a fabulous week. I have managed to read. I'm filming this. This is my wrap up for it. I'm filming this on the 8th of February, and I have managed to read 8 books already. How fabulous is that? And I'm into my 9th book already. So I'm about an hour and a half into my 9th book, but you'll learn all about that in next week's vlog. And look at me go, hey, look at me go. I have managed to read 8 books, talk about the said 8 books, and also edit this video and get it up within the time frame that I wanted to. So the next one will be dropping will be a 7-day one, and it'll drop the day after. So it's same sort of scenario, and we'll have all the things. Again, there will be books that I'll be using to steal points, and I'll be reading the TBR that I still have behind me. So these are the original TBR that I still have behind me. I'm starting the second book in Harry Potter as well, which is just there. So that is getting used. I'm using all the books to steal all the things. So all I can say is to the other teams, look out, I'm coming for you. All right, I'm taking some points. But that is the end of this week's vlog. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate you being here. And leave me a comment down below. Have you read any of the books that I have mentioned here today? Are you joining along with any of our buddy reads or anything like that? Don't forget, I do have another video coming out at the end of the month as well. That is all the buddy reads. So The Color Purple will be on there. The Harry Potter books will be in depth on there, and there's a few other books that I've mentioned here today that will also be in depth over there as well. So keep an eye out for that. That will come at the end of the month, if not the first week of March. All right, but as I said, that is it from me today. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And as always, keep turning those pages, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.